Peace. Welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Folks, we got a lot to talk about. First and foremost, let's talk about the Defense Secretary. Mr. Lloyd Austin was officially released from the hospital earlier this week. We're going to talk about the implications of the Pentagon not letting the White House know the medical situation around the Defense Secretary. We'll talk a little bit about that. Also, Georgia District Attorney Fonnie Willis finds herself in the midst of affair allegations and political jeopardy. She spoke out on Sunday at a local Atlanta church to share her part of the story. The thing was, did she quite deny the allegations? We'll talk a little bit about that. Also, let's discuss how a new Florida bill has redefined defamation, possibly opening the door for hate speech. And then later we have our very special guest. We have one of the great members of the multi-platinum R&B group Next Tweet is going to be joining us to talk about his songs and his legacy, along with the next things that he's doing in the community for the culture. So folks, stick around. It's got a lot to talk about on today's edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Let's go. All right, folks, welcome to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Man, oh man, we got a lot to talk about, so let's jump right into it. But the first thing, let me just say happy Wednesday, happy hump day for everybody out there. And big shout out to the online culture crew that's been checking in from around the country. That's right. We got to give them a big shout out. We are streaming, folks, on a number of different platforms. So make sure you do your due diligence and check us out first on our home network, blackstarnetwork.com. Go to our website today, download the app for free. Follow us on social media under Black Star Network. And we actually for you to drop something in the bucket to kick off 2024 with us on the right start, because we want to make sure that you are invested, you are a stakeholder in this movement we are a part of, and bringing digital content like no other. So make sure you go to our website today and download the app at blackstarnetwork.com. Also, we're streaming on a number of different Amazon platforms. You can check us out on Amazon News and your Fire TV, on Amazon Prime Video. And folks, you can find us on the Prime Video app under Live TV, the news, or find us on Amazon.com under Prime Video, Live TV, the news. And we're also on the Freevee network, where you can find us under On Now, under News for Black Star Network, and as well on Plex TV, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just search for Black Star Network, or find us under Live TV, the news and opinion. All right, folks, big shout out to the online culture crew that's just gathering into the chat. We got crew members on the X platform. There we go. We got crew members on the Facebook platform. If you haven't found us on Facebook, just go to Roland Martin's Facebook page, and you should definitely find us there. And we got crew members that are joining us on Roland Martin's YouTube channel. And it's on that channel that you will find us there as well. And let me see who's in the chat today. Folks are checking in from all around the country. The ABX girl, I see you. Minkley, Natasha Surge, welcome back. Deborah Everett Freeland, hello. Deborah Jackson, thank you. To the Stephanie Humphrey channel, I see you. Arlene Starks, good afternoon. Cornell Hughes, I see you. Big brother Willie Frazier is in the chat. Pretty Brown Mimi 726, I see you. Guy Fletcher, good evening. To you as well, God. Thank you so much. My man, Brian Christian, good afternoon to you, Brian. Thank you once again. You don't like my music, I see you. Thank you for checking in. Anastasia Pageant, I see you. Benny Hill, I see you. My big brother, Pastor Damon Blissett, always good to connect with you. Miss Jacqueline Boateng, thank you so much. And so many more folks are gathering in the chat. Once again, folks, we are streaming live on Roland Martin's YouTube page, and we appreciate you for joining us, and we would love to hear what you have to say about these topics. All right, first and foremost, let me check in with my sister now. We checked in with the online culture crew, but it's Wednesday, so you know we got to check in with the sister from another mother. She's always bringing us her expertise in the legal space, political space. I'm very happy to have her once again. My sister Suzette Speaks, the host of the Suzette Speaks Show, licensed attorney from the great state of Florida. political strategist.
Hey, Farajii. How are you guys? Happy Hump Day. Welcome, Culture Crew. Happy to be here.
All right, Suzette. First and foremost, let's talk about something that's coming out of Washington, D.C., which is the Defense Secretary, Mr. Lloyd Austin. He was released from the hospital just this past Monday after a 2-week stay, according to the reports, to treat complications stemming from surgery to treat prostate cancer, according to the statement from the Pentagon. This is what they said, folks. Take a look at this. I'm looking at the second paragraph. It said the secretary continues to recover well and on the advice of doctors will recuperate and perform his duties remotely for a period of time before returning full-time to the Pentagon. He has full access to required secure communications capabilities. This is, and I know we're gonna have to take a quick pause, but Suzette, this little situation here has gotten some people a little bit confused. Other people are upset because the big thing is the Pentagon did not let the White House know that the Defense Secretary had to get surgery and that he was going to be out of commission for a number of days. We're going to take a quick pause. When we come back, I want to get your take as to what does that mean as we kind of talk a little bit about the latest coming out of Washington, D.C. Folks, we are just getting started here on The Culture. We want you to join us. Again, we are streaming on Roland Martin's Facebook page, Roland Martin's YouTube page, and we want you to join the conversation. So stay with us. It's The Culture right here on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Your money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
I'm Farajii Muhammad, live from LA. And this is The Culture. The Culture is a two-way conversation. You and me. We talk about the stories, politics, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So join our community every day at 3 p.m. Eastern and let your voice be heard. Hey, we're all in this together. So let's talk about it and see what kind of trouble we can get into. It's The Culture. Weekdays at 3, only on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punching!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, farajii Muhammad, joined by my sister, Suzette Speaks, who is the host of the Suzette Speaks show on YouTube. She's a licensed attorney out of the state of Florida, political strategist. And we're talking a little bit about the case of Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, who was released from the hospital to after some treatment for prostate cancer. He was released this past Monday on Dr. King Day. And the Pentagon has officially put out a statement saying that the secretary continues to recover well and on the advice of doctors will recuperate and perform his duties remotely for a period of time before returning full time to the Pentagon. He has full access to required secure communications capabilities. The big kind of the big question in DC, and I think in a lot of other places, is that why didn't the Pentagon let the White House know that the defense secretary had to be treated, go into the hospital for a few days? Why do you think that didn't happen?
Well, I think this was a very bad case of misjudgment on behalf of Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. When you look at the facts, and just to kind of give it a little context as to why we're talking about this and why it's so important. So the Defense Secretary, Lloyd Austin, happens to be the first African-American man to ever hold this post. So the Defense Secretary is the civilian head of the military, which means we are involved in several different conflicts around the world, either directly or indirectly at this point. So the civilian head of the Department of Defense is a person that helps advise the president, has a lot of power, and in fact is the sixth person in line of succession. That means if something were to happen to the president, the vice president, and so forth, Speaker of the House, he is the sixth person that would take over reins of our government if something were to happen to the other five. So this person has an immense amount of power. And as a person who I think coming from his military background, he is a very well regarded soldier or person who has served in our military. He knows that the chain of command and protocol matters. So I think this was a misjudgment in that he thought, and many people oftentimes who are going into public office need to really think about this, that you still have the ability to keep your privacy almost in the same way that a private citizen would if something were to happen to you, if you had to go to the hospital, if you had to have a specific procedure done. But in his case, as the defense secretary, the timeline really matters. So this happened in December, right before the holidays. He was diagnosed probably around November, I'm not clear on the dates, with prostate cancer. He didn't tell anybody. He didn't want anyone to know, or his staff, let's say, didn't want to alarm anyone, obviously, because we are in conflicts overseas. I get why the public may not have been informed right away, but the president has come out and said that he and his office were not informed also. So we're looking at the end of December, where Secretary Austin had surgery to remove the prostate cancer that happened between December 22nd and January 1st. He came home like after 4 days, had complications. There are now 911 call transcripts, and actually the actual call, you can hear it online, of someone calling 911 asking for help because after he went home, he had a pain in his stomach. His abdomen was filling with liquids. It basically was not properly emptying, and he had to call 911 and go back to the hospital. So it wasn't until some of the complications start to emerge that the public and especially the press corps of the Defense Department were even notified. But the most important person that should have been notified was the president. And I don't really think there has been a good enough reason that he did not. He has apologized. He's made public statements. Again, now there are people in Congress, especially on the conservative side, that are saying that he should lose his job. And I don't know that warrants that type of penalty. However, it raised a lot of eyebrows, and it is an area of concern. The Inspector General of the Defense Department is going through right now the protocols. Even his deputy, when he was in general anesthesia for the procedure, the deputy, Ms. Nancy Hicks, was notified that she would have to come back off of her vacation. She was in Puerto Rico at the time on vacation, back to, but she wasn't really told, come back to, excuse me, let me finish the thought, take over provisionally, but she wasn't told even at that time why she wasn't notified until later. So I think this is a real clear case of kind of unorthodox and probably unjustified, trying to balance the interests of the secretary in maintaining his privacy and his private medical histories and knowledge of what was really happening to him. But it should have at least been disclosed to the president's office, because of course we're in a time of war, in a time of conflict. And if he has to go under, in which he had general anesthesia, the president should have known. So I think it was a clear case of misjudgment. I don't think it rises to the occasion that he should be fired. And I know the Black Caucus has come to his defense and say, yes, he probably should have and did make an error in judgment in that way, but they're standing behind him in terms of having him remain in his post.
Oh, absolutely. And the crew is speaking out. And folks, if you want to join the conversation with the crew right now, you can go to our Facebook page, Roland Martin's Facebook page as we're streaming live there, and Roland Martin's YouTube channel as we're streaming live there. Join the chat and be a part of the conversation. Let me go to a couple of the crew members, because folks are pretty solid, Suzette, on their take of the situation. Pastor Damon, Big Brother Damon Blissett, you checked in and said, we the citizens didn't need to know. The president does need to know. Absolutely. You don't like my music. You said the notion that the Secretary of Defense has the power to change the status quo is wishful thinking. That's an interesting comment. Interesting. We're going to go try to get back to that one. Cindy D, you said the president of the United States and the vice president should have known about this. Absolutely. Pretty Brown Mimi, 726, you said, thanks. Hey, Suzette, thanks. So thank you. So Secretary Austin is in the line of succession. I thought so. So thank you for bringing that to the conversation, Suzette. Lori said, quite sure his family knew, and I'm quite sure the president also knew it too.
Well, he had to say, or at least what we know publicly is that the president did not know. So that was the statements that were given.
Right. That's the only thing we can work with.
I was just like, this man at this level in this rank, he had to me, it's like telling your boss, I mean, you could say you're going out on sick leave without giving details. He could have said he had a routine procedure and things like this. I do find it a little far-fetched, but the White House has been clear that they didn't know. So I don't know. Again, the lapse in judgment is a little bit unorthodox, but not even telling your deputy when you told her to, fly back and be ready just in case, it seems a little bit kind of overly protective, because the initial real information should have gone to the most important quarters, although, covertly and quietly. But it's almost like we hear a story today coming out about King Charles in England. He's having, I think, prostate surgery as well. And then Princess Kate, I was almost saying Queen Kate, sorry, Princess Kate.
Oh yeah,
has put out a statement that she has to have an elective, or I can't make that assumption, sorry, a surgery of some sort on her abdomen. And she also put out in a statement, please respect my privacy. Of course, this is going to garner a lot of attention. My kids, my family, I want to keep this private. But again, she is the next Queen of England. And so there's that balancing act when you are a public figure, a public servant. In Secretary Austin's case, you don't necessarily have the same privileges, unfortunately, when it comes to privacy. Obviously, his medical records are still private. But when it comes to going into surgery, especially at a time where the United States is facing so much conflict around the world, and going under general anesthesia, and then having, a complication and having to go back. And he was just in ICU. They had to drain his stomach, basically send a tube down his throat to get that extra liquid that wasn't flowing through his body properly, and get an infection under control, I think is what they said. He ended up with an infection after the surgery, which is a pretty big deal, right? So It came out now. It looks kind of, bad on his part, his staff's part, of not letting at least the president's office know. But I know for those of us who kind of think critically, you'll wonder, could he really have made such a kind of big lapse in judgment? Perhaps, but that's what the facts show as of right now.
Well, he released a statement, as you mentioned, Suzette, claiming full responsibility for his decisions about the disclosure. The press secretary for the Pentagon, Major General Pat Ryder, said, quote, there's been a lot of lessons learned, and there has been a commitment by the secretary to do better when it comes to transparency. Ouch. I don't know.
No one's perfect. We talked about it the last show we did about the higher bar and, the no room for error when it comes to especially Black leaders in highest positions in our country. Like you can't be seen as,
that's a great point,
having this kind of lapse in judgment. And again, I think for him, I could understand his thinking like this is quote unquote a private health matter. That is you as a private citizen, but as you as a public servant, with such a high ranking position, the president, if not anyone else, should have been notified. And the president said that he wasn't. So this is something that the inspector general in their office is going to look at, and hopefully, corrections will be made to probably mandate in the future, if this were to happen, for the president and necessary parties to be notified.
Hey, Suzette, I want to say thank you for bringing up that point of when you are a Black person in a high-profile, influential, high-level position. I'm sorry, there's a double standard that exists for you being there, and there's no room for error in judgment. I mean, granted, there are going to be some mistakes made, but not like this. Not like in terms of simple communication, right? In terms of institutional communication. So, in a very, very polarized political time that we're in, a simple situation like this will be blown out of proportion. Next thing you know, the first Black defense secretary is on his way out the door.
Yeah, and then trying to avoid losing your job, you might end up, it's weird.
Right.
Because I think it would have been better to disclose. I think most people would agree that somebody who has that level of power over our military and our militaristic strategies around the world cannot disclose to the commander in chief that, again, this might be the most routine of surgeries. That's what I'm trying to put myself in his shoes. What was he thinking? This is routine. Nothing really ever goes wrong. However many men around the country, around the world do this every, day. Okay, great. But you're still going to be under general anesthesia, right? You are not going to be conscious for however many hours. That's huge. So, I think there will be a lot of lessons learned. And I do believe for me, it's a forgivable offense. But again,
of course,
that's in my book. And we'll see. It seems like the president is standing behind his man as of right now.
As of right now. Certainly so. All right, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's switch gears from talking about a Black man in power to a Black woman in power. We're going to talk about Georgia District Attorney Fonnie Willis, as she has come out publicly to share her side of what she's been going through as she's in the midst of affair allegations and political jeopardy around in her office. So we'll get more details about that. We want you to join us in the conversation as we're streaming on Roland Martin's YouTube page and Roland Martin's Facebook page. And we would love for you to stay tuned as we continue the conversation on the other side. You're tuned into The Culture right here on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate Black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness, and what happens in Black culture. We're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, waste $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation, joined by the great Suzette Speaks, who is the host of the Suzette Speaks Show, licensed attorney from the state of Florida, political strategist. And last week, if y'all remember, Suzette and I had a conversation. We just kind of started the conversation, really, around this whole situation, controversy, that is surrounding the Georgia District Attorney, Fonnie Willis. This is the same district attorney that has prosecuted about 18 of former President Donald Trump's associate that led to those infamous mugshots of the former president, Rudy Giuliani, and all of his folks with him. And now, based upon a complaint that was filed by one of Trump's associates, Mr. Mike Roman, who served as the campaign operative for former President Trump back in 2020, he said that the election interference case that was brought against them should be essentially thrown out of court because there was a alleged relationship between Fonnie Willis and the prosecutor that she had assigned to the case, Mr. Wade. And as a result of this alleged affair, it has opened up the door about the ethics of Fonnie Willis and has put her into some hot water of affair allegations, as well as some sense of political jeopardy. Now, Suzette, you told us last week that we can't jump to conclusions, that we need to kind of wait until the facts came out, right? So we're watching this case. I'm watching this case. But she had a chance to speak on Sunday at a church in Atlanta, Georgia, where she talks about all that she has gone through as a result of this controversy. And in her speech, she did not quite deny the allegation. She said that this recent allegation is more based on her race, because not only did she assign Mr. Wade to this case, there were two other prosecutors that were assigned that were not Black. So she blamed it on the race card, but she did not go explicitly say, I did not have an affair with this man, or I'm not in any type of romantic relationship with this man. So I want to get your take on this because it's I've seen this too much, Suzette. We've seen it. We've been down this road too many times where some type of personal stuff gets in the way of us taking care of the business of the people. What say you?
Again, I was very clear last week when we raised this issue that this was an allegation made by a defense attorney based on his motion to the court to try to dismiss his case, right? So out of those co-conspirators, there are about 14 left, and this is one of them. And through a motion made to the court to dismiss the case against him, he alleges, the defense attorney by way of his attorney, writing to the court on a piece of paper, there is an improprietary or improper relationship between Miss Prosecutor Fonnie Willis and one of her lead prosecutors, and therefore this case should be dismissed. And as I explained, go back and watch to our audience here, that motions like this, as we've learned from basically the Trump case, a defense attorney can write and try to argue almost any theory of the case they want to, but in this particular filing, there was no concrete evidence of any sort attached. Now, I want to bring to your attention, Farajii, that other papers didn't start to even cover this story based on that motion until she spoke 6 days later at this MLK church service that you're referring to. I would urge our audience to go and watch the 35-minute speech in its entirety, first and foremost. You can hear directly,
absolutely,
because what I took from it is completely different from what I hear your assessment is. Now, what I took from it, and again, looking at it from my attorney hat, there are reasons to say and not say things based on, I think, the occasion that she was invited to, the MLK church service.
Right.
And she allowed, by commenting on it, now other major news sources have covered it because now she has responded in a way. So again, they didn't touch it with the 6-foot pole. You didn't see articles about it because, again, there was no evidence to back it up. It is merely an allegation by a defense attorney who is trying to make sure he does everything possible to allow his client the best chance of getting off. So I'm looking at this from the hat of some of the allegations that were made and what she has said in this 35-minute speech. I don't know if we have pieces of it that we could queue up, but just based on how she laid out her experience, first and foremost, in the speech, she goes through not only what has happened since this allegation, but just how she has been treated at large since she won in 2019, knowing that she has had, more than 16 years as a prosecutor in that office, how she has changed basically the culture of the office. The backlog is gone. 70,000 cases were sitting on the desk, basically, of the Fulton County Prosecutor's Office. How through her work, they're at a 95% conviction rate on regular cases, on appeals, 96%. And looking at, as you pointed out, her other appointments in this case, what the defense attorney did not mention is that there's also, as she put, a highly qualified a white woman who she also appointed, a white man who was also appointed, along with the third, who we're talking about now because the defense attorney mentioned it, right? Mr. Nathan Wade. In her speech, she addressed what she thought was the reason why no one is concerned with the other two, in her opinion. So indirectly, I do think, Farajii, she was laying out a case as to say, by watching the speech, this is not me, this is through what I see her saying in my interpretation. She lays out how well qualified Mr. Nathan Wade is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Looking at his 10 years as a judge, looking at his civil litigation practice, 20 years in private practice for himself, having been an assistant attorney general, having been hired by another prosecutor in another county at twice the pay that she's paying him, also to be a professional on their case. Now, that person happens to be a Republican. That person also hired this same gentleman, and nothing was made of it because of his qualifications. And she also, in her speech, applauded that particular gentleman for bringing Mr. Wade on the case because he was always looking for ways to diversify his attorneys who he has work on his cases. So she methodically just kind of points out why she chose Mr. Wade. Now, she doesn't name him by name in this speech.
Right.
She goes through why she thinks, she believes, as you said, this is being raised now. Now, I have already stated this is, to me, a defense maneuver to create the very publicity that we're giving it now, right? All a defense attorney got to do is create some doubt, right? And they're trying their hardest to find ways. And again, no one else could, up to this broadcast, to me, I've been Googling, searching, trying to see what corroborates this. This is a wild allegation. This is the hard part when it comes to the criminal justice system. You could basically make any claim. Like I said, former President Trump is claiming he has blanket immunity. Anything I did as president never, ever stops anyone. So why are you trying to charge me? Throw this out. I was president. Just because someone writes it in a motion does not, therefore, make it true. That's why we have to walk very gingerly. Now, let's speculate, let's say. Looking at some of my colleagues and their writings about what if, right? There is no basis as of this broadcast to say this is true. But what if? Does it rise to an occasion to see it force a judge's hand to dismiss the case? From what I'm reading, no, it's not. No, it's not. Are there rules that possibly may apply if there is a relationship that it should have been disclosed? Yes. But is it enough to get this case dismissed, which is what the defense is trying to do? Likely it will not stop any prosecution. However,
hold on to that. I know we got to take a quick pause. So I want to give you a chance to finish this. And then there's some more details that we do have to add into this case, which I think opens the door. Again, this is not me trying to throw a black woman under the bus. This is not me. That's not the energy. That's not the spirit I have around this. But this is more of getting back to your original point about Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. We have, as black folks, we have to kind of hold ourselves to a different standard than the standard that other people hold us to, because we're black. It's just that simple.
But
so we're going to talk about.
We have to add the possibility that she didn't do anything wrong, because this is an allegation doesn't mean that she's guilty. That's what that's a. And I know your spirit is not to just.
No, I'm not throwing. Of course,
you would never. But the point being, I try to always present the fact that this is nothing that has necessarily been backed up. So we have to be very careful how we talk about it. And as I hope we don't do here, is to add that same presumption that they are trying to play the media into having, that there is guilt. Whether or not there is a relationship does not necessarily, if it were true, provide enough grounds to dismiss this case. But we don't know. And we have to be very careful how we present it. That's all I want to make
Absolutely. Sure. Great point. Great point. Look, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, we would love to hear what you got to say, crew. Post your comments as we're streaming on Roland Martin's YouTube page and Roland Martin's Facebook page. I'm going to share with you more details, get more take, another take from Suzette and from you. Stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol,
we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad, joined by Suzette Speaks, as we have for every Wednesday. We're talking about the allegations. We're talking about the Georgia District Attorney, Ms. Fonnie Willis, and how she spoke out this past Sunday at Big Bethel AME Church, the oldest Black church in Atlanta, Georgia, to say her piece amid allegations of having an affair with the prosecutor she assigned to the Trump election interference case, and this prosecutor's name is Mr. Nathan Wade. And just in the face of political turmoil, as folks are trying to figure out what's going on. Now, she said that this is the race card that one of the Trump associates has levied against her, that they're using race as the real tactic. But I think my concern is, and this is, again, to your point, Suzette, I am watching this and I'm taking this day by day and looking what's being said. But the concern is that if the allegations are true, because she hired Mr. Wade, his firm was able to earn over $650,000 for being on that case. And they're even, again, this is the allegation, folks, so don't come at me and say, oh, you said it, that they're saying that because he earned this money, he took her on some couple of lavish trips. Now, I know that has to be proven. So there's some trips and gifts that are involved between Mr. Nathan Wade and District Attorney Fonnie Willis. If they find that to be
some trips and gifts, are there? Where is it?
That's what it. That's the point. That's the point that I'm bringing up. That it has to be proof.
So we have to again state this.
And I get that. And I get that. Here's the thing, though, Suzette. Here's the thing. One, in modern day America, in social media America, perception is reality. So unfortunately, when you're going into the court system, and if you have a high profile case, or if there is any case in the court of public opinion, guess what? you're guilty until you're proven innocent, not you're innocent until you're proven guilty. In the court of public opinion, people have already came to the conclusion, made their judgment, you're guilty. Now you have to take them back. Now you have to show that you're innocent, right? So perception is reality in this case. Now, am I saying that she did all, again, folks, this is all allegations. So for all of the crew members who are saying, well, why are we talking about her private life? Because it's an ethical situation. That's why we're talking about her private life. I wouldn't care if she was sleeping with anybody because that is her private life. But if you're talking about basically putting your lover on a case and then your lover is making over $500,000, nearly $750,000, and you're doing whatever, it just, again, perception is reality, and it puts us in a position where it's like, what can we do with that? And here's the question I have for you, Suzette. If she made this public statement, 35-minute speech at the church, would it have put her case, and I can't think of the other best word to use, but would it have put her case in jeopardy if she just explicitly said, I never had an affair with this man?
I think it would play into the hands of the defense, which we're already doing by putting out this allegation in the motion the way they did. I think, as you're saying, I do agree, it has already tainted the water towards her, which is what it's designed to do. That's why, even though if it doesn't have merit, the other co-defendants are latching onto it as well. And of course, they're pushing it out through what we're doing, through the media. This is what it was supposed to do. This is what it was designed to do. Now, talking about trips and things like this, unless there is
money, let's talk about the money. I mean, that's the money, right? It's not about sex. It's about the money. Like if you are connected to somebody that's getting money, and I think that's where the ethical part comes in. I don't think it's about the fact that she sleep. If that is the case, if she's sleeping with somebody, I think it's the fact that she put her boyfriend, again, if these are allegations, but if she put her boyfriend in a position where he got to be enriched from this case, and then essentially she used whatever money to benefit her and her boyfriend. Y'all see what I'm saying? So it's really about ethics. This is not about the case. Like, I think the case it should be, it shouldn't be tainted. I don't think she should be thrown off. I don't think it should be dismissed. I think that case is totally separate. But I'm saying in the court of public opinion, it leaves a bad taste in our mouth. People don't want to talk about it. But unfortunately, it seems like we keep operating from this place. And again, I'm not saying she did it. I'm just making the point that these allegations once again shines a spotlight on the fact that our people in high positions of power keep falling for the same thing and thinking that what white people do in certain spaces, we can do, when that's not the case. We got to see things the way they are. That's going to be my 2024 theme. You got to see things the way they are. Am I wrong in thinking like this, Suzette?
Yeah, I think from what I hear from you, just how I'm hearing what you're saying, the presumption of guilt for me as an attorney is kind of too heavily emphasized without facts and without proof. We're calling him her boyfriend. Where is proof? Where is proof? Again, when we brought this story back, I'm like, I haven't seen any more evidence presented since last week's show to show me or to give me any more reason to now be inclined to say, well, let me see what's going on here. I think, again, when it comes to allegations made by a defense counsel, I'm always taking them with, a little bit of a side eye, because I know what a defense counsel's job is, right? To discredit the folks who are trying to prosecute the case against their client and hopefully to get it dismissed. When I look at her speech, and again, I can only say, watch the speech once again, so you see it come from her mouth.
Yeah.
She has described all three of the prosecutors that she hired as good friends. You are allowed to, as she is by law, to hire friends, people who have relationships with you, who you know their work ethic and their work product, and that it meets a certain level, she's within her right to have hired him. And most legal experts say that even if this is, quote, true, if there had been or an ongoing relationship or wasn't a relationship at some point in time, say, that it is not enough to rise to an occasion to even have her removed from the case based on what we're hearing right now in this allegation by a defense attorney whose job it is to try to remove her or somehow get this case dismissed against his client. They're only, I think, if it's completely fabricated, like I said, it is very difficult in the American court system, especially when you're a public figure, to get back your reputation if something is not true or not, completely false. If portions of it is true and portions of it depends on context, you don't get to clarify. And I don't think at that service would have been an appropriate time, and I would not have given more. I think she handled it very shrewdly to look at what she said and how she said it. She did say a lot. She can't, in her position, put herself in a position, although you would want her to say, I had nothing to do with that guy. They probably had some sort of degree of relationship. I would love to, again, know through, again, what is necessary through a court hearing. And it looks like this judge has marked this down for hearing probably in February, this motion by the defendant to be heard in February. I want to wait and see what it's about through the fact-finding process, right? When you write a motion, I have a client, I have people right now, the defendant is writing all kinds of foolishness. That's not you suing the wrong person. This is the wrong job. I don't even make that much money. I never was the person to hear, sir, if I go to your employer and pull the records, I can tell you what it is because there are then facts to back up what I have placed in my motion. But his motion is nonetheless written and given to the court. That's what I'm saying. I'm not giving this the weight, perhaps, until I see facts, because I know people can write what they need to or whatever they dream of in a motion to the court to try to get the outcome that they want.
I got you.
I'm not saying there may not be facts to support the motion, but he filed it. There were no other, and again, no other news source touched it yet because it could have been defamatory based on where are the facts.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Suzette.
Innuendo, rumor. This is not.
I agree. Look,
this can be quite damaging. Until I see facts, I cannot, postulate on, what may have happened. Mm-hmm. But if I see facts as to what has happened, then we address it accordingly.
Here's the thing. One is that we came back to the story because she did do that speech at the church,
right?
After we had our original conversation. So just to stay in line with following the story, especially she's the protagonist in this story, it's doing our duty to keep our folks informed that, hey, look, this is another development in the story. Otherwise, then we will be finding ourselves out of the loop and not doing our job as keeping people informed. If we miss talking about the fact that she did go to the church and she did have some words to speak against these allegations and race and all of those things. So we got to do our due diligence here at Black Star Network.
Watch the
speech. You got to watch the speech, right? But again, like I want us to make sure that it opens up the conversation, and I get it, folks. And y'all, look, let me just share what folks have been saying because so many people are checked in. Brian, you said in response to Stephanie Humphrey channel, Real Brooklyn, it's because the Black community has been divided for centuries by Europeans who are still ruling the world and making our lives worse. So we must unite. Brian, thank you so much. Anastasia, you say they are just mad because she has crossed all her T's, dot all her I's, and she is still coming for them. Absolutely. Bella Kent is CISO. You said, Farajii, always enjoyed watching your show. Thank you, Suzette, for sharing the facts you just stated and emphasizing these are all allegations that have not been proven. These Trumpers will try anything. Right. Pauline, you're saying, why are we still talking about this with no proof? Okay, that's fine. We were talking about it because she spoke about it. So we can't just ignore and act as if she didn't say anything about it. Let me see, who else we say? Lori Parks, you said, I don't even want to know. Like I said, I could care less. Now, here's the thing. Claudine Gay, when her situation kicked off, the former Harvard president, we saw it as the controversy as a result of her stance or her testimony in December around the whole anti-Semitism thing, right? The school put out an official statement saying it wasn't that, it was plagiarism, something totally separate, which led to her being ousted. Even though they also acknowledged that it wasn't, she didn't commit plagiarism. She misattributed some quotes, but it didn't work up to the level of plagiarism, but it still led to her ouster. That's all I'm saying, y'all. It could be the smallest things. Like if they want you out, they're going to find the smallest things, even though some of the smallest things carry no weight. I think that's the part of this, Suzette, I don't want us to lose sight of, that even though the smallest things could cause no weight, we might be like, oh, it's a personal life. Oh, that don't matter. You know, she had a rock solid case against Trump and his associates. But then the smallest thing can lead to the biggest impact. We just saw it in the Claudine Gay case. We just talked about it with the defense secretary. Small thing. He didn't communicate. He should have, I got you. But if Mr. Lloyd Austin is removed from his post as defense secretary, because the people say, well, the White House says, well, we he's sick, he needed time off, so therefore we thought he, let go of his duties. Y'all see I'm trying to just draw the line of the common theme here. It's the smallest thing.
The common theme is Black politicians have to be perfect. Although their white counterparts also do make, and we'll call this, I'm not going to say specific to these facts, but any politician, smallish mistakes, and they're allowed to correct course and do what they need to do. But I agree with you that the scrutiny that's under, one of the parallels I feel between Claudine Gay and what's going to continue to happen with regards to this allegation is the onslaught by conservative media to hype this up, blow this out of proportion, create this storyline that may or may not exist, and destroy people's reputation. Because in the Harvard case, the board, I think is Harvard Inc., kept saying they supported her. They kept saying that whole time that the so-called plagiarism was not real plagiarism. Even though that was bandied about and attached to her. That's what I'm saying. The more they say it, the more it sticks. The more it becomes, as you say in the court of public opinion, true, although it's not true. So I say we have to be very measured, even as we should be covering it here, how we cover it. Because the purpose behind what that motion provides in terms of news fodder was not to me, legitimately, what can I call it? Question this particular handling. It is to create a storyline that fits the stereotype, gender stereotype, racial stereotype around Black leadership, so that there's more of the anti-DEI, more of the anti, there's only, as she said in the speech, 1% of state attorneys in the country are Black women, 1%. So how the taint of the mind goes beyond just her. It goes into elections across our country because, although subconscious, we connect Black leadership as quote unquote being questionable when everyone across the board has instances, if we magnify them, if we continue to place them in the front of people's faces, but other times they're covered, in a way and not as broadcast as when Black people do it. So I always want to, again, cautious that we even fall into the trap that we think that we are the problem. We are not the problem. We are human.
No, I don't think that we are the problem, but I do, and I know it got
white counterparts don't get this level of treatment. That's one.
Of course they don't. I mean, come on, Suzette, you know that. And we don't. But I mean, that's the double standard.
I don't know. I don't. For me, my politicians don't have to be perfect. For me.
I don't know. First, hold on. I don't expect my politician to be perfect. I go by like the 60-40 rule. 60% I'm with you. 40% I'm like, I roll my eyes at you. You know what I mean? Maybe 70-30. I don't expect that. But I'm just saying that when you come before the people, and I got to take a quick pause, but when you come before the American people, and when we're coming before this group of Trumpers and people who Trump and his people love dirt. They like pigs. They just love
their dirt though, because this man has also served as a special prosecutor in other jurisdictions, getting paid twice as what. That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm saying. We're falling into like that the trope of.
I don't think it's a fall into a trap.
I don't
think it's a trap because even if she says once she is cleared, right? Like the allegations aren't true. That's all well and good. But I think if we do not have enough conversations about double standards, we don't have enough conversations that when you are black and in powerful positions, keep your nose clean, cross your T's, dot your I's, make sure. And I'm not saying that you got to be. I know. It's people say, "Well, you got to be perfect."
Wrong? Did she do it? Was within her right to hire who she should? And if he's qualified to do it, like I said, I don't know the nature if there was any type of personal relationship. But nonetheless, like I said, there's so much assumption being made.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I got to take a break. We got to take a break.
Her reputation is gone now. Here we are. Oh, wow. None of this was true. We have to be very balanced because we don't have any facts yet. If there are facts attached to it, then let's go in. But I don't see that. Where are the facts? Where's the evidence?
I hear you. Look, we got to take a quick pause. When we come back, more conversation. Stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol,
we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, farajii Muhammad. If you didn't had a chance to check out the first half of the show, make sure you be a part of Team Replay, as we had some very spirited conversations about everything from Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin not communicating with the White House about his medical condition and getting surgery, to the latest affair allegations and political jeopardy that we're seeing with the Georgia District Attorney, Fonnie Willis. So make sure y'all do your due diligence and check us out in the replay as my sister Suzette and I go back and forth and try to figure something out.
I love it. It's not in here today. Woo!
Hey, look, and then I'm gonna give you a chance to say, and then I'm gonna just say, look, because Pastor Damon Blissett, who I have a lot of love and respect for, he said, farajii, what did you say, Pastor Damon? You said, farajii, I see where you were going. You just presented it wrong, and you got caught in the web of where's the proof.
I knew
y'all know y'all can take shots at me. That's cool. I have no problem with that.
I get your point.
My only thing, my concern, this is really, again, folks, this is not coming from, I want to see the sister fall. I know we're in such a crazy time. Like, even simple allegations with no proof can get you fired. That's all I'm saying. Allegations with no proof can get a black person fired from a high-profile position because of the politics behind. Like, she's in a red state. Georgia is a red state. You know what I'm saying? And they will find some loophole to get rid of this sister because of what she did to Trump and his associate. Allegations will get you fired in today's time. And now, if y'all got any problem with that, then so be it. But y'all can't tell me that simple allegations won't get you put in some hot water or make people question your ethics or making people question your credibility. And in some cases, your intelligence, because allegations will do that. And you're right, folks say, oh, well, we shouldn't be talking about it. But again, if we keep acting as if we're living in some separate America and not seeing the current America that we're in, see America as it is today in 2024, then we are going to keep finding ourselves back in this place. Suzette, I'm going to give you the final word.
Continued until I get some proof. I'm not going to, because I know when I see what people file in court, it doesn't move me until I see actual proof. So I get what you're saying. We should try and strive, especially those of us who are pursuing leadership, who are in leadership, to, as they say, keep your nose clean by any means possible. And I get that. But then, as you're saying, allegations are powerful, even when not true. We cannot control what people allege that we've done. And I get it.
I know that
behavior rises to the occasion to demand more scrutiny and accountability. We will do so, regardless of race, background, whatever, because all public officials should be held equally to account. But damaging one's reputation through allegations is a scary, and that's why a lot of people do not go into political office, because they can do a lot of damage and not be true. That's true. Yes, you can lose your job. I wouldn't call it rightful, because somebody something. There are many people behind false allegations in jail or died. So I don't agree with the fact that just allegations alone should cause us to put this person, in one category or another.
No, that's true.
Now we're dealing in rumor and innuendo, and I do not like that. I need to see more proof, except for a motion filed by a defense attorney of one of the 14 remaining co-conspirators with former President Trump trying to get his case dismissed. I need more than that. And again, if we do see that, let's revisit it. To be continued.
There it is. Boom. I like how you said that, Suzanne. Let's be continued. All right. Man, my sister, she always keeps me on my toes. All right, let's talk about what's happening in Florida. There's a bill, Suzanne, that is looking, a new Florida bill that's looking to redefine defamation. But the problem is it may open up the conversation or open up the door for hate speech. This is SB 1780, called the Defamation, False Light. Let's put this quote up on there, please, Lise. SB 1780, the Defamation, False Light, and Unauthorized Publication of Name or Likeness, which was introduced this past Friday, would make it easier for an individual to sue another person for defamation, according to the measure, and an allegation that the plaintiff has discriminated against another person or group because of their race, sex, sexual orientation, or gender identity constitutes defamation per se. So even when these allegations are false, they are automatically defamatory. Now, here's the thing. If a person, for example, is called a racist, if a person is called homophobic, then it could be potentially true. It may be true, but the person that's been called those names can then sue you for defamation.
Listen,
am I understanding this bill right?
This is where we are now in the so-called, what Ron DeSantis likes to call the free state of Florida, except we're not. So when I'm looking at this new legislation, and right now our state legislature went into session 2 months usually. It usually is later in the year. They've been there now a week or two. They started early this year in January. And just looking at some people are texting me every day, some of the bills that are coming up that are potentially going to be presented in the House and presented in the Senate, and what they will do to voting and like this to well-established case law that's been around for maybe 50 years or plus, 50 years or more, when it comes to defamation lawsuits and other major issues affecting all people and Black people in particular. It's kind of scary, right? So this is one of the ones that is being discussed among many, guys, and you can track, especially wherever you are. If your state legislature has like a bill tracking software, most of them on their websites do. You can just Google what's being discussed, and it's really, really scary. So as this one goes, SB 1780, when I look at it, one of the major issues is that, again, the major established case law around defamation occurred in 1964, a Supreme Court case, New York Times versus Sullivan. And that means in order to prove defamation, one of the elements, right, one of the things you have to prove through facts, through evidence, is malice, right? And so this law would remove malice. So what does that mean? I was trying to figure out how do I explain this without going into like a law school lecture. But malice is evidence that shows deeper ill will. Someone wrote something about you because there was a rivalry, some sort of what do you say, feud between parties, reckless disdain for someone's reputation. So there are different ways that malice is defined depending on the state you live in, right? But in Florida, we've seen actual malice defined in broadly in these type of ways. Now, this type of lawsuit wouldn't have the person who is claiming to have been defamed have to show malice, that this was done with ill will, intent, rivalry, reckless disregard for your reputation, any other kind of like hostile occurrence between the two parties as evidence that this was done on purpose, Your Honor, to injure me. It would now be malice, what they call per se, meaning it would be just the lawsuit itself would make the assumption that that was proven already, that malice is like assumed in a way. And again, this is for informational and educational purposes only, not giving anybody legal advice. Talk to an attorney directly. But point being, they don't have to prove up that what you did was wrong because you acted with malice. Now it is given. It is given. So think about the cooling effect. What does this affect? People who write news stories. In this bill, it talks about not allowing journalists to have, for example, if there was a defamatory line or allegation made against someone, journalists couldn't, for example, have any secret sources when it comes to any quotes or any language that created the defamation. They would have to divulge who their sources were. We are also looking at the fact that by virtue of now actual malice being presumed, more folks will be deterred from writing what will be actual information about people based on their behavior and their track record. So it's a cooling effect of free speech across the board. You would be afraid to be sued because the penalty of this law is $35,000 in a fine, right?
Damn.
Right? So you would, as a newspaper or as an individual on a post, would be chancing the fact that you would use the term sexist, racist, transphobic, homophobic, one of these type of indicators and markers for someone's kind of known behavior, but you would still be risking the chance of being sued under a much broader, right, defamation lawsuit statute. So it's not law yet. They've been going back in the Senate with this version. House has another version. And then if it ends up being passed, they try to complete a version where they both match. And then if it's passed, majority of both bodies, the governor signs it into law. So this is just one of many of the cooling and anti-DEI already. I was looking at a brother of mine was a friend guy sending me stuff about voting. Some of the new proposed legislature kind of recommendations based on like bills like this is kind of mind-blowing. And again, local elections, state legislatures, they draw the districts where people vote in. And we just had, when I was on Rolling this week on Monday, we talked about how they affect even a guest who we had on there, putting 30,000 Black voters in a new district, and now them being sued because, again, those legislatures control a lot. They control the purse. Another story I was sharing with farajii, not to digress too much, which is about how so many conservative states right now also, including my own here in Florida, are rejecting the summer food program, assistance program. It would be $1,200 for three, I think $120. $40 a month for any child on free and reduced lunch during the year. And mostly conservative states, through their state legislature, through their governor, have rejected those funds as well, depending on, you know, how your state operates. But sometimes it's just the governor has the unilateral decision to do certain things. But in this case, I'm just saying we're seeing trends in state legislatures where there is more of a Republican control, where there is, again, less economic freedom. Because, again, $120 for a child over 3 months who needs, you know, food assistance, or they wouldn't have been on perhaps the free and reduced lunch program to begin with, has been rejected. And people don't really understand. Again, the federal government provides funding, but states can reject it. But point being, I just think that's a part of a more broad trend that we're seeing, especially like in just this case, where we have so many people that are fighting against what the party clarion call says, freedom, we're a free state of Florida, freedom. And then you look at the bills and you're like, freedom for who? Freedom against what? It's really frightening. So yeah, so any allegation that a plaintiff has discriminated against, etc., you know, been somehow discriminated based on race, sexual orientation, gender identity, really could be seen as defamation per se, any allegation. So it can affect so many different industries, but we as individuals as well, and deter us from saying the truth. It's crazy. It's kind of crazy.
Let me just say, so many people in the chat right now that are like, let's give Florida the boot. Let's just kick it out. Just Pretty Brown Mimi 726 said, wait, before y'all give Florida the boot, let me move out first. I'm still up in this mother.
Let's go. I think she's in Jacksonville. Yeah, trust me. All over the state. Like I said, I wish I had a list of new bills that are already being proposed. And again, we have super majorities of Republicans, meaning they don't need one Democratic vote to move anything forward. Democrats actually need Republicans to buy into their bills to get anything passed.
That's crazy.
Right? So if you have a body of like, you know, 120, I believe, and I think it's only 30 Democrats in you know, the House versus the Senate, like, you know what I'm saying? Looking at the numbers, Democrats could stay literally home because Republicans have gerrymandered the districts and been able to get elected so much more easily because they're moving Black people or separating Black communities into only a little bit in this and a little bit in that. So they don't really have any influence, as opposed to sometimes packing, which is putting everybody in one district. So, okay, y'all get that one Black seat, but the rest all the way around, where we could have a third influence that seat and a third influence that seat.
That's crazy.
It's a lot going on. But this is just one of many bills, is my point. This is just one of many. I keep getting text messages like, what?
That is crazy. Corinna checked in and said, our people are here. Corinna, Denise, yeah. And as we have conversations about Florida, we got to keep that in mind, right, Corinna? That our people are there. Our people are living there. And guess what? More people are moving to Florida. More Black folks are moving to Florida and to Georgia and to Texas every year, right? Their population
said almost like a couple million since pandemic have moved to. I'm like, where they at? Like, people are coming. People are coming. And it's a lot more. Yeah, a lot more folks. I know we didn't get a chance to talk about it here also. We probably would do it in another show when we talk about Charles Blow and his movie about trying to get Black folks to move south.
I've seen it. Yep. So that's a great point. That's a great point. I think
political power in places where there already are concentrations or larger concentrations of Black folk. Maybe folks need to be moving into the city centers, where in the South we can get more influence on who wins. Yeah,
absolutely. And I agree. And I think, I just read that Sean Hannity moved from New York to Florida, and because he felt like that was his place. He felt comfortable there. He loves the politics down there. So welcome to Florida, Sean Hannity.
As if Keenan was here, he would play "And Another One." Like, man, I can't even tell you some of these bills they coming up with. I'm like, Lord help us.
Hey, Suzanne, this is what we're gonna do then. We gotta take a segment sometime soon, and you can lay out just some of those big, maybe about 3 or 4 bills that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure. And I know we're going to get to this break. I'm sure that the bills that we see being instituted in the state of Florida is going to be some stuff that Trump may institute in his campaign for the whole country.
Or other states. They use the model of the BS that gets kicked over to the governor's desk that he signed. Absolutely. And then they say, oh, we can do it too. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, we're going to switch gears. Let's talk about music. Let's talk about entertainment. We're going to be checking in with one of the group members of the multi-platinum R&B group Next. We're going to check in with my brother Tweet as we talk to him about his song, their famous song being featured in the Netflix hit movie Leave the World Behind, and so much more of the work that they're doing. So stay with us. The conversation is up next here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind $100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shootings.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Folks, I just want to let you know, if you haven't had a chance already, make sure you hit us up on our social media. To follow us at Black Star Network on Instagram and on Facebook and on the X platform. We would love to connect with you. Also, make sure you hit me up on my social media at The Real Farajii on Instagram. I would love to connect with you there as we build up our followership after having some issues last year, being hacked and all of that stuff. So make sure y'all do your due diligence. Follow us, follow me, and I would love to hear what you have to say. We have been having some great conversations with my sister Suzette Speaks, who has been with us today. And I want to bring in our very special guest. He served as one of the founding members of the multi-platinum R&B group Next. Y'all remember Next? Yeah, I'm sure you do. He was formerly known as Tweet, but today he has wanted to make an announcement about his music career and life after music. So we're happy to have Brother Raphael Shawan joining us here today on The Culture on the Black Star Network to talk to us about what his next steps are. Brother Raphael, thank you so much for joining us. How you feeling this afternoon? Uh-oh, we got you on mute, brother. Let me get you. There we go. Uh-oh. There we go.
Pardon me. Thank you for having me. First off, I mean, I feel blessed. I feel great. Happy to be here. Happy to connect with both of you.
Absolutely. Thank you for being with us. All right, let's first talk about how people have known you. You were a third member of the R&B, the renowned R&B group Next. Next, y'all kicked it off in 1992. You, of course, with other members, R.L. Hugger, Terry Tilo Brown, and of course yourself. In the 90s, y'all were just churning out the hits, brother. Y'all were churning out the hits. Y'all remember that?
Real Y'all don't know nothing about that. You're making war for me. Y'all don't know nothing about that.
You don't know nothing about that. Too Close, number one spot on the Billboard Hot 100. Y'all had a string of hits along with that one. And your song Too Close, which happened to be featured in the Netflix hit movie Leave the World Behind. First and foremost, this is 26 years, bro. Y'all have been, and then to have your song Too Close in 2023 having that song back in there. How has it been for you and for your brother?
I mean, it's just been a blessing, man. A gift that keeps giving. To be a part of this for as long as we have, the 26-year run, it was amazing. I had the best time of my life. I know Tilo and Ariel are just as thankful, and it just goes along with, you know, it's a reward for all the hard work, the perseverance, the belief in ourselves, contrary to whatever our circumstances were before we got the blessing. And it's also a blessing to be able to be an example to others, to let them know that if there's something that they aspire to do or aspire to be, then we love being the example that all things are possible.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, but you came on the show because you got an announcement as it relates to your music career. What's that announcement, big brother?
So the announcement is, as of December 30th, 2023, I retired from Next. I'm no longer traveling and singing with Next, but they have a lot of shows. Still go and see the shows, go and see them perform. There was no drama. There was no breakup. I literally retired because my life called me to retire. I am now a certified sound healer, certified mindset and energy coach. And this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. It's my passion. It's the reason why I was born. And it was just time for me to make that commitment, because there's so many people in the world that can use what I've learned and the processes that I teach, that I feel like I need to devote 100% of my time to it. And I didn't want to short Next, because if I'm going to do something, I got to give it my all, and Next deserves for me to give my all. And I'm not able to do that anymore. So we parted amicably. Everything is all good. They gave me their blessings, and we're straight. Everything is all love. So just moving forward, I'll be doing my sound bath, sound healing around the world, as well as my mindset energy coaching. So it's all based around mental health and helping others have a better life.
And first and foremost, can we give some horns to Brother Raphael for his announcing his retirement?
No,
and there we go.
Let's go. That's amazing.
And Suzette, I certainly want you to just jump right in, please. But you're a certified sound healer, mindset coach. For those who aren't familiar with that terminology, Brother Raphael, what does that mean? What is a certified sound healer? What does that person do?
So a certified sound healer is, we do sound healing through sound bath. And just to give you an example of what it is, when you think about, like, say you had a glass of water and it was sitting in front of a speaker and there was bass in the speaker, you could see the water vibrating through the glass, right? You can see the vibration going through the water in the glass. But imagine if the human body is made up over 70% water, and imagine how the vibrations of the world affect us positively or negatively. Well, the instruments that we play, they're tuned to 432 hertz, which is a healing frequency for the human body. And if you're in the vicinity of these sounds, it can heal you and balance you out. It heals stress, it heals depression, it heals all kind of things. And this is ancient. This isn't new. I mean, they call it new wave and new age and all that, but it's not new. Our ancestors were using sound healing therapy for many years. So this is just something that I feel like it's been in my blood. It's just been in my focus for a long time. I started being exposed to it in 2017, and I've been on the journey for a while. And my wife and I just recently last year got certified and launched our own business so we can start helping people feel like we feel, because we feel great now.
That is awesome, Suzette. What's your take as you hear Brother Raphael talking about his life after music?
Can I just fan out for a second? Okay, thank you. So we was singing about the poke, and we didn't know coming through. We didn't know what we were singing about. But we were singing about the poke coming through. Okay. All right, sorry, but it's a pleasure to share this platform with you today, brother. And I am curious about, and I know we have to take a hard break at 45, but the sound as healing, right? So coming from a Christian worldview, and I have seen so many events, I know you don't know about everybody's sound events, but here in Miami, I've been seeing this online. And I've been curious about it, but I've been kind of afraid to go. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I don't know, if it's, spiritual in a healthy way. Of course, I have my own ideas about music as healing through my love of reggae music and how I feel when I move to it and how I feel lifted, no added substances required, but just in a beautiful, like spiritual, vibrational way. I understand you talk about how the frequency does something for you. In those kind of group sessions, have you worked within those? Have you seen a change within yourself when you talk about healing? And what people expect? Because I think there are people like me who are a little sheepish because we're not sure about, what exactly it where the root of it comes from.
So all beautiful, beautiful questions, and I love your perspective on it. First off, let me say that thank you for the years of support and connection and looking out and being a fan of what I've been a part of. I appreciate that. But pertaining to sound bath and sound healing, the sound baths it is a spiritual thing, and it's not religious at all. You can be of any religion. My grandfather was a minister, so growing up in church, I actually went to seminary school in 2008 to be a minister, and some things in my life pulled me away from that. But I feel like it moved me away so I can actually not have a title, so I can be a vessel to people to let them know that this is about your inner work. This is about your relationship with you and your health, your mental health, your healing, and your spiritual self, which to me is all connected to God. But I don't feel like it's a religious thing. I feel like this is something that everybody needs to work on. So I've had Christians ask me, is this something that I can do and not go to hell? I'm like, yes, you can meditate, go to hell. You can be at a sound bath and not go to hell, because it's just sound frequency. And a lot of times people will question something like this, but they won't question hanging out on Saturday drinking spirits at a club or somewhere else. Those spirits are far more dangerous for you to interact with than something that actually can heal you. And you can do some research on it so you can see that it's not just, coming from me and me wanting people to experience it. And yes, talk about seeing results. I used to be very, very aggressive. I'm originally from Gary, Indiana, so I was taught at a young age.
Let's go Midwest. Let's go.
You had to let them know, like, look, man, we don't play no games from Gary.
Google Gary, Indiana. You'll see my start, and you'll realize that something like this saved my life. Because I used to be very, very reactive, and in life you don't want to be reactive. You want to be proactive. You want to you don't want to be a puppet too. I felt like before I learned to meditate and before I started using sound healing, I was highly reactive. And I was taught that when you're handling things and you want to let people know where you're coming from, you got to be aggressive. You got to show them, and that only worked where I'm from, because when I got out in the world and I saw that most people weren't really moving that way, they would prefer to communicate. And I found it more appealing for my life to be at peace. And what this does is it creates an inner peace in you where you don't feel like you need to react to everything that takes place, because you start to see the other person's side. It's not just my side. I see, well, if a person is lashing out at me, they're already going through some kind of pain or turmoil within them. So they're just trying to share it with me. And I don't have to join in with them because I'm not on that frequency. And I don't want to add to what they're already going through. So sometimes silence is more powerful than being reactive, but it takes a long time to get to that point. For years, I tried to do this and I felt displaced. I felt like I wasn't being my real self because I was taught to be reactive. So that felt more normal. But the more I meditate and the more I was connected to sound frequency, and I also teach something called an activation. An activation is a 15-minute meditation where you can activate anything you want in this world, from health, love, happiness, peace. If you just want to celebrate how good you feel, an activation to help you multiply more of that energy. So I think in our culture, we need to learn that we were taught to pray, all of us. I was taught to pray at a very young age, but praying is half of it. Praying is saying thank you, or it's asking for something. But when you meditate, you're receiving, and God speaks in silence followed by action. So you got to be still and know. That's what that means. So a lot of us have been misguided to think that meditation is only from the East. It's really something that is missing from all of our lives. And a lot of the violence and different things we see around the world, they wouldn't exist if more people meditate and did sound therapy.
Hey, come on, Pastor Raphael. Come on, brother. Come on, Pastor.
Going deep.
I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that. Look, we got to take a quick pause. There we go. We got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's get some comments from our online culture crew as we check in with Brother Raphael Shawan, formerly known as Tweet from the hit group Next. He's joining us here on The Culture. I got my sister Suzette Speaks. And of course, I got y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all post your comments as we're streaming live on Roland Martin's Facebook page and Roland Martin's YouTube page. And let's continue the discussion about life after music. Now we're talking about mental health. We're talking about getting your mind and your body and your energy right. We're talking about getting you prepared for 2024. Stay with us. The conversation continues on the other side, right here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, you're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause to long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii Muhammad, joined by my sister, Suzette Speaks, and we have our very special guest, Brother Raphael Shawan, who is formerly known as Tweet, and he is a retired member. We can't say former member. He wasn't kicked out. He made the choice to leave after an incredible 26-year career as a music artist. He is a retired member of the group Next. And y'all remember, if you know anything about 90s, 2000 music, you know Next was putting out the hits. But, Brother Raphael.
Yes, I'll be you. Sorry, wifey. I know the songs, Farajii. I do. I know them. I dance.
We do. But now Brother Raphael is moving on to his next chapter in his life, his purpose. And he is a certified sound healer. He is a mindset coach. He is one to help us to bring our energy together and to get to be more whole and heal and being healed and authentic. And so we welcome your comments, as you can post your comments on Roland Martin's YouTube page and Roland Martin's Facebook page. All right, Brother Raphael, let me just share with you just some of what our watchers are saying, because they're excited to have you on the show, but more importantly, they're excited to hear that you're taking this direction. Janae said, I just participated in a music meditation on MLK Day, thought the songs would be distracting, but the words were so moving. Absolutely. You don't like my music. You checked in. You say, when you listen to music, you are tapping into the social consciousness. Absolutely. That is very, very true. And Mingli Natasha Surge, you posted, music is a temporary healer. Yep, it is. We know about that. And Brian Christian said, Brother Raphael, good point about silence being powerful. And I have gone to a sound bath. I live out here in Los Angeles, so I have gone to a sound bath by another friend of mine, a brother who is in the same space that you are. He's a sound healer, mindset coach, and it was my first sound bath, Brother Raphael. And I will say to anybody, that brother and what I'm learning about the work of energy and I would like to even go as far as say soul healers. Mm-hmm. It is not outside of your religious belief. It is not one of those situations. This is not like a cult. This is not like some crazy situation. It actually complements who you are. Mm. Because a lot of times, and I think that we don't talk about this enough, but a lot of times religion is presented to us being outside of us. That, you know, the prophets and the messengers of God are outside of us. But how many times have we been told that we have what it takes on the inside of us to be just as good? We kind of have, I think we have done ourselves a disservice, Brother Raphael and Suzette, when we have put ourselves out there like, oh, Jesus over here, Muhammad is over here. But never understanding that we have the same ingredients within that they had. What they did different was they made the intentional choice to follow a certain path, and we could do the same even in modern day 2024 here in America. Brother Raphael, talk to me. What's your take on that?
My take on it is, man, first off, you just hit it. You just hit the nail on the head. You brought it home. So everything you said is real. I've spent many years working out, and I felt great. I looked great, but on the inside, I was a mess. And I've learned how to work in, you know, and no matter what you do, if you have your insides together, you're going to look great on the outside anyway.
Ooh, come on, brother. Come on.
And a lot of us are so focused on, you know, looking good on the outside, but crying in the shower. And what I teach is helping people to feel good in the shower and outside, and not try to focus on fitting in, because you were made to stand out. You are one-off. You have your own fingerprints for a reason. So I want people to fall in love with that. And in our culture, we haven't been taught the tools that we can use to not be so aggressive, to not be so hateful against each other. And I think a lot of times people are hateful against each other because a lot of times we're hating ourselves. You know, we're struggling to find comfort with who we are. So when you take these steps to do sound healing, and you take these steps to start doing meditations and doing activations and different things like that, you start to learn, like you said, we do have the same power that Jesus has and Muhammad and everyone else that came before to give us the example, from Buddha to everything else. And when we have these different names, we get caught up in these titles, not realizing that we're all talking about the same energy. It's the energy of love. It's the energy that creates worlds, that creates life. And when we take these blinders off and take the barriers away and open up our toolbox and take what we can to learn to better ourselves every day, we will become better. But then we can actually shine the light on someone else's path. It will take no light away from your candle to light someone else's candle. And when we develop filling up our cup and then sharing our overflow with other people, I think that we'll have a much better, more safe and happier life. And then we can move together instead of moving in conflict so much, because I don't know why that feels so comfortable for people, but I want to be the example to let people know that we're here to do this thing together. If 2020 didn't teach us that we're all together, I don't know what will, because everybody was in the house. And you know, when we were in the house, we had that time to think, and we had that time to realize what we do and don't need. But I want to challenge everybody that's listening to this thing today. When you get off here sometime today, 2 things. One thing is learn how to do a cleansing breath. A cleansing breath will save your life, as it saved my life for many years. A cleansing breath is when you breathe in through your nose, hold it for 2 seconds, and then exhale out of your mouth. Let's try it real quick. On a count of 3, everybody breathe in through your nose, hold it 2 seconds, and then blow it out your mouth. 1, 2, 3, breathe in, hold it, and then exhale with a sigh, like, One more time. 1, 2, 3, breathe in, hold it, and exhale with a sigh. One more time. 1, 2, 3, breathe in, hold it, and exhale with a sigh. Now tell me you don't feel better.
It feels like a weight has been lifted a little bit, bro. I have to say that. That's real talk, man, because we don't breathe. We don't breathe. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you think about, and I know, Suzanne, you know, given all of the stuff that we have happening, we talk about these issues, but I know that one thing that America really does need help on, and I know that this is something that has, as Black people, we need help on. We don't know how to get out of a space of being of trauma. America is not good with healing. And as a result of that, we take in a lot. Like you mentioned earlier, Brother Raphael, we take in a lot, but we don't let it go. We don't get into a healing space. So we're taking in all this madness that we see in this country each and every day. We're taking in all of the quote unquote consequences of Blackness each and every day. And then we just leave it. Nobody says, hey, let's take a moment. Let's just breathe out, guys. Let's just
let it go.
We don't have, excuse that, we don't have national marches that start off with a breathing exercise.
Or school days.
Or meetings.
Or school days.
Anything.
Or meetings.
Yeah. Like
we bring in the pastor for the meeting, right? We be like, Pastor, say a word. Pastor, say a word. All right, Pastor, get out now, because we about to do the business. And we don't have no thought about the spiritual and the holistic healing process that it takes for us to be connected with one another. So,
Roger,
yes, sir.
We can't do what we don't know, my brother. Like the fact that we haven't had these tools available to us, and the way I was raised, anything that wasn't in the Bible or wasn't said in church by the pastor, that's the devil. So someone telling me to breathe, that sounds like, I don't know, that sounds like some voodoo. Like, I ain't going to hell. Like, so I ain't just not to do anything because I ain't going to hell. So I mean, that was my mentality. And then when I started to see the results of these things, it changed my life. And another thing was meditation. Like I said, the first thing was take a breath. The second thing is meditation. Please start to meditate. Just try it. 5 minutes today. You don't have to start long. Meditation is just sitting still, doing the breath that I showed you at the beginning, and then just relaxing and just focus on your breathing, breathing in, breathing out. I promise you, your life will be much better. And if you don't, if you feel like you can't do it, tap in with me at admin@bestlifeeverteam.com, and I will help you. I have a team of people that we work together and we can help you. But I want as many people as possible to know that you have the pen in your hand for your life, and you are writing your story. Your story is writing itself. Things are happening to you. They're happening for you. And if you're hearing this right now, there are over 8 billion people in the world, and you're hearing this for a great reason. So please use this information to your advantage.
Congratulations. We're so grateful. I know we out of time, Farajii. They say we out of time, but this is so
out of
deep.
time. No, I'm just getting started.
Just loosen it up.
The power of having the strength to evolve when people have expectations of your wife, your R&B group. Everybody expects you to be one thing, and here you are saying, you know, God has planted something else inside of me. It's amazing to see. I would love to hear more about that transition, but we're out of time. We got to have you back. But congratulations, and keep doing what you're doing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Brother Raphael. Hey, look, I know you are launching. You're denouncing your retirement. I also know that you're moving into this different chapter of your life. But trust and believe, you have a home with us here on the Culture on the Black Star Network, brother. You
Thank you
know,
so
you always welcome to come back on here. How can people follow you, get in tune with you, and make sure that they can get something from you that will help them in their personal lives?
Well, like I said, if you want to tap in and do an activation with me, you can tap in with me at admin@bestlifeeverteam.com. That's admin@bestlifeeverteam.com. And you can follow me at Raphael Shawan. That's RAPHAELSHAWAN on all my social media platforms, or you can follow me at Tweet From Next if you don't already. And if you do, thank you. I really appreciate you, Farajii. I appreciate you, Suzette. And thank you to the culture, man. I appreciate y'all. And I'm here to represent for us. Please tap in with me because my heart is open and I'm here to share as much as I can to help us move forward in the best way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let me just say, I didn't mean to mispronounce your name, Raphael. I listen. Hey, trust me, names mean a lot. So I don't want to mispronounce your name, big brother, but I appreciate you, man. I really do. And I hope God continues to bless you and your family to go into this different direction, this new direction, man. But this has been so refreshing. Like, real talk. This has been a very refreshing. Yesterday, and Janae from our culture crew, she reminded us, we had a conversation. I know we don't have no time today, but I'd love to bring you back on to talk about Black men being emotionally available, because we had a conversation about that yesterday, and how that when you're unavailable, how it creates a bunch of issues in your life and your relationships and whatnot. So we got to have you back on, man. Shit, I'm trying to have you on.
I'm about to say, working on your healing journey is just inspiring. Men see other men work towards, as you just described, how you went from aggression to love and peace, inner peace. That's a beautiful example. We definitely gotta have you back on. This is.
We gotta have you back on.
Hey, and Farajii, to tap in with what you said, my name means God heals in Hebrew.
What?
Yeah, Raphael means God heals in Hebrew.
Well, you're doing your thing, sir. All right.
I'm done. Brother Raphael, thank you so much for being so good for the culture. Hey, man, give our love to the other members of the group, man. I mean, y'all had a phenomenal run as a group. Seriously, give our love to them, and you always welcome back, brother. Always.
Thank you, both. And if you see next performance somewhere, go and support my brothers, man. They gonna crush it. They always. I'll pop out and support them for real. 100%.
There it is. Brother Raphael Shawan, y'all check him out, follow him on social media, and more importantly, let's continue to support our brother as he goes into this new chapter, new purpose of his life. Thank you so much, big bro, for being so good for the culture. We truly appreciate you.
All the best.
All right, folks. There it is. Oh man. Suzette, thank you so much for being with me today. Always a pleasure. Make sure y'all follow her. I got to get her off. Look, make sure y'all follow her on all social media platforms. Go check her out on YouTube. She got a dynamic show. Also, make sure y'all support her on YouTube through that Pantheon platforms. But make sure y'all follow her. Y'all check her out. Follow her on all social media. And we look forward to having her back on Wednesday of next week, God willing. Hey, Suzette, thank you for being so good for the culture.
Thanks, Farajii. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye. All right, folks, that's going to do it for me, for the crew. Thank y'all, man. Thank y'all so much for checking in from the X platform, from the Facebook platform, from the YouTube. I hope y'all enjoyed the conversations today. Make sure you follow us on Black Star Network on our social media. Follow me at The Real Farajii. I would love to connect with y'all. I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram, Twitter at Farajii. Also, I'm on Facebook at Farajii Muhammad. And I would love to see who you are, and let's continue to build the community. Stay tuned. Up next at 6 p.m. Eastern Time is Roland Martin Unfiltered. As always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we'll talk tomorrow for another exciting edition of The Culture right here, only here, exclusively here on the Black Star Network. And a big shout out to Azaria, D-Man, T-Man, and Erica for showing their support for us here on Black Star Network. Thank you so much for the financial donations. God willing, we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.